Welcome to the Breathing Edge podcast. Today we're going to talk about meeting intensity with Innergy. That's energy.
That's us making up words.
Play on word.
we like to make stuff up. So, what we're really talking about is how loud and intense real life is. We just spent some time in nature and at Mount Warning actually, and I came up one morning from the river. I was down in the river in the early morning having a bit of a cold soak in there, and I said to Angie that what I realized sitting down there and listening to the running of the water and the birds, and it was beautiful, was I could hear how freaking loud my head was. Like, I could hear, the craziness going on in my head about all the things that we're doing in business and property and relationship and the kids. And it was so loud, I could hear it. So I was like, wow, sometimes the intensity has to be met with some energy. And what we mean by energy is the inner energy that you have, that comes from meditating, that comes from going internal or inside. And one of the reasons we love the breath so much is because it drops you into that space. It drops you into that space to be able to get some time and just have a little bit of a settle down with the intensity of everything that goes on in life.
Yeah. And I'm just going to share an honest moment here as well, because it's exactly, yes.
Are you all ready for this? I am.
Admit, that's why I used to hate meditating, because if I sat there and meditated for 15 minutes, I'd sit there arguing with myself for 15 minutes and go, everything is just so loud.
What Angie and I have discussed this, what Angie didn't realize is that's part of it.
I know.
In my experience with going inward, whether it's meditation or it's breathing or anything, probably the first 10 to 15 minutes is just getting past the body and the chatter of your own mind, and then having an opportunity to observe what's going on internally for you as well.
And what I noticed around that is I was doing meditation because I thought I had to. It was a task that I had to do for my own well-being. Everybody else is doing it, and everybody gets stuff out of it. But we had a discussion with a friend of ours about this as well, where I get a lot of that from the breathing. So why should I meditate? I mean, the breathing gives me exactly what meditation gives everyone else. So why should I meditate? And the funny thing about that is that what I realized, and this was a key element for me, and I don't know if it might be for you as well, is that the meditating aspect of it was the time that I set aside with myself to learn to receive. And when I mean receiving, it's like receive an ability or opportunity to be quiet and be still and calm the loudness and the intensity.
When Angie and I discuss this, the receptivity part of it that comes, it's often accepting the stillness. It's accepting the quietness as well, because that quietness and stillness is rejuvenating. It's restorative. It helps you reorganize your mind. It helps you it helps you realize that the outside world is loud and intense as well, and how to relax into that intensity, because that's what it's about. It's about being able to cope and relax into that intensity. But it's a very interesting subject, because it's so paradoxical, going inward and being quiet to deal with the absolute extreme loudness and intensity of the outside world. It's just not something that is that seems to be a natural skill for people.
If you think about it, look at how much intensity is going on here. And this is what I had like a little realization. I walked into the shopping center and I just went into Woolworths or something like that. And I looked at all the stuff on the shelves for sale. And I'm like, I go into nature and I go into a shop and I'm like, it's freaking intense. There's every single one of those items is calling out to you to buy it. So
that's physical items, let alone the marketing and all the bling bling and all the things going on for you.
Your your little the carrier thing overflowing by the time you get to the checkout line, going, oh, haha, always leave with more than you thought you would. And isn't that interesting? So then I started seeing intensity everywhere. It's not only with intensity in business or intensity with money, and intensity with, partnerships and children and all the natural, normal sort of intensities, but you also have marketing intensities and things like that. So for me, what I've noticed is that when I can meet the intensity of all of the things coming at me with equal relaxation, and using the tools of meditation and breathing and these sorts of things to be able to receive the stillness and receive peace, and giving myself the time to recharge my energy.
That's how you do it. That's how you do energy. Energy is the what Angie just described then is energy. That's what you do. You're filling up and emptying out at the same time. That's cycling the energy through, and that comes through the power of that comes through also through silence and stillness as well.
Ooh, permission to do nothing, I think, for me.
Whoa. How's that sit with you out there? Permission to do
nothing. Yeah. So for me, that time for meditation and breathing is the permission to do nothing, and that is so essential in this crazy world. So anyway, have a play with that. See how you go.
And it's not in the words, it's in the practice.